All right, before we understand how Celery works, let's first try to understand some technical terms in Celery. Okay, so it will be easy for you to understand the Celery process. Okay, so first thing is the task. All right, so a task in Celery refers to a unit of work that needs to be executed asynchronously. Tasks are defined as Python functions and can represent various operations such as sending emails, generating reports, manipulating the data, or performing any major calculations. Okay, so and then we have Celery workers. Okay, so a Celery worker is a separate process that executes task. Okay, worker retrieves task from the message queue and process them. So worker will be running in a separate terminal. All right, and then we have this message broker. A message broker is a communication system that facilitates the exchange of messages between different parts of a system. Celery uses message brokers like Redis or RabbitQueue to store and manage the task queue. However, in this course, we are going to learn about Redis, and we'll be using Redis for the as a message broker as well as the result backend. Okay, so next is this result backend. The result backend is a storage mechanism used to store the results of a completed task. All right, and then Celery Beat. So Celery Beat is a optional component that provides a scheduler for a periodic or a scheduled task. It allows you to define tasks that run at specific intervals. So if you have ever worked with cron jobs, you know what I mean. Okay, so in cron job also we set a time, or we can schedule a task to be run at a given interval of time. All right, so it works the same way. There are other technical terms as well, like task routing, task state, task retry, and concurrency, prefetch, and more. But let's not try to understand everything in one go. We will go step by step. Okay, so let's see how exactly Celery works. So the process starts from this task request. Whatever task that we give to Celery, it goes to a central hub called Redis, which is a message broker. Okay, so Redis, acting as a central hub, it collects all the task requests from Django. On the other hand, Celery workers, here we call them as Celery worker A, worker B, worker C. They regularly check this Redis hub for any new task. Okay, so when a worker, let's call it a worker A, finds the task waiting in the Redis hub, it steps up and takes the ownership of that task, and it reads the task and understands what exactly need to be done. And then it executes and completes the task as per the requirements and send the result or output to a different Redis mailbox known as result backend. Okay, so meanwhile, the original task requester, which is your Django app, constantly checks the result backend for any completed tasks. When it spots any completed task message from worker A, now they know that the task is now officially done and can utilize this result as needed. Okay, so this is what exactly happens in a nutshell. But to understand this more precisely, let's take one simple example. Okay, so let's try to understand this more clearly. All right, let's say you are a manager at a company and you have a super skilled employees ready to tackle various tasks. Okay, but here is a twist. When someone in your office, represented by your Django app, needs a task done, they don't directly ask your employees. Instead, they follow a system that keeps everything efficient and streamlined. Most likely, they send an email to your company's mailbox, right? Now, the process starts with the task request. Instead of personally approaching an employee, the requester jots down the task on a piece of paper, or in this case, a digital message, and drops it into a central mailbox known as Redis. Okay, so this is the central mailbox. Now, Redis, acting as a central hub, collects all these messages. In fact, it collects all the task requests. Okay, so all the task requests are in this Redis central mailbox. All right, now your employees who will be referred to as Celery workers. They regularly check this Redis central mailbox, just like employees checking their email inboxes for any new task, right? When a worker, let's call him as worker A, finds a task waiting in this Redis mailbox, he step up and assign that task for himself. He reads the task and understand what exactly need to be done with this task, right? With the clear mission in mind, worker A starts to perform the task. It could be anything like sending bulk emails, manipulating data, or generating complex reports and all that. Okay, so once the worker A successfully executes the task and completes the task, he writes down the result on another digital message. Okay, but this result message goes into a different Redis mailbox called result backend. Okay, so we can call it as a result backend. Okay, so it's like saying, hey, the task is done, here is what I accomplished. Meanwhile, the original task requester, in our case Django, constantly checks the result mailbox for any completed task. And when it spots the completed task message from worker A, now it knows that the task is officially completed and I can utilize the result as needed. Okay, but here is where the magic multiplies. While the worker A was busy, the other Celery workers, let's say worker B, worker C, and worker XYZ, were also grabbing tasks from this Redis central mailbox and completing them and contributing their result to the result backend. Okay, and guess what? Celery can handle scheduled tasks too. Imagine you want to water the office plants every Fridays. You leave a note or a scheduled task in the Redis mailbox on Thursday. Now worker A, acting like a well-trained Celery, knows exactly when to check the mailbox on Friday and takes care of the plant watering task. Clear? So the task scheduling will be performed by Celery Beat. Clear? In simple words, Celery acts like a finely tuned task delegation system. You jot down what needs to be done. Celery workers will pick up the task, execute them with the precision, and then notify you when they are completed. All of this happens seamlessly in the background, allowing your main app to continue its operation without being slowed down by any time-consuming task. Okay? So this is the whole behind the scenes magic of Celery. I hope it is clear. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask me. In the next video, we will install and configure Celery in our project and see them in action.